Prior to the premiere of Ahsoka, a clip of the duel at Corellia between Ahsoka and the former Inquisitor, current Inquisitor maybe, Marrok, was released and received a ton of criticism from fans claiming that the sequence was choreographed in a boring way and shot flat, with many specifically blaming the use of the volume soundstage on why it turned out that way. Were those criticisms not only valid but also representative of the final product? Well, I'm going to break down this duel and discuss the choreography and aspects of shot framing. As mentioned, the main criticism is that the fight is too slow and sloppy for a former Inquisitor and seasoned Jedi. It's important to note that Ahsoka's goal in this fight isn't necessarily to kill Marrok, but rather to stall for Hera to do something about the escaping ship. Her second objective is to observe Marrok's fighting style, search for weaknesses in his technique, and stay on the defensive throughout the duel. Ahsoka begins the battle anticipating the first strike, which Marrok wisely leaves to his HK assassin droid so he can strike at Ahsoka's blind spot. Once Ahsoka jumps into the action, the droid quickly changes to a defensive position in anticipation of her attack. A lesser droid would have gone through with the initial strike, which would have left it completely vulnerable. However, when this fails, she goes to behead the droid, who swiftly dodges, but she uses the momentum from that slash to put pressure on Marrok and to get him in the battle, thus also defending her blind spot. The next bit of the fight is obscured in an extreme wide shot from Hera's perspective, but we can see the droid fall back, awaiting a chance to strike, while Marrok goes for a vertical strike, which Ahsoka catches with a dual saber cross block. This technique is something Ahsoka employs fairly often, with it being necessary when facing an adversary that deals powerful blows. We saw this very prominently in her first fight with Vader, who's notably a slow but powerful force with a lightsaber. At least that's his usual fighting style. It's also very advantageous to her more swift and acrobatic fighting style, allowing her to take advantage of her opponent's strength to throw them off balance. We'll come back to this in a bit. In this cut, we can assume that when Ahsoka disengaged sabers with Marrok, this threw him off balance, but allowed the droid a chance to attack her from the rear. She, however, counters this by dodging out of the way, actually incapacitating the droid with a leg sweep. Any fan of the Clone Wars knows how skilled Ahsoka is when dispatching IG series Magna Guards, and a leg sweep would temporarily leave most clumsy, poorly designed droids out of commission long enough for a finishing blow, something she may have accomplished had Marrok not prepared an onslaught of attacks, starting off with a fake out slash coming through with an attempted leg sweep. The sweep actually serves two purposes for Marrok. The first and most obvious is to knock Ahsoka to the ground. The second is to create distance, allowing him to get back on his feet and using the momentum for a powerful vertical strike. Here we see Ahsoka once again utilize that cross block, and we can really see how beneficial this move is when viewing her footing, taking a power stance, preventing Marrok from overpowering her. The clash also illustrates just how beautifully this defense allows Ahsoka to ready a counterattack. The vertex of her blades prevent Marrok from disengaging to strike from one of her vulnerable positions while testing his blade to determine which saber would be best to maintain the block so the other can come through for a powerful blow. The strike isn't an attempt to finish the fight though, but instead to throw Marrok off balance to overwhelm him with a powerful strike from both sabers, leading to Marrok retreating and regaining his composure. Our next cut shows the droid back on both feet once again. Marrok awaits the droid to be ready before beginning his next string of attacks. So while Ahsoka is defending against him, the droid moves in for a powerful strike. Ahsoka is able to fend off Marrok's fury and catches him off guard with that powerful dual saber strike she just used to throw him off balance. Ahsoka's saber stance is perfect for these fast attacks and blocks, with the added benefit of unpredictable power strikes due to her acrobatic abilities. The droid prepares a powerful diagonal strike, which Ahsoka catches with another cross guard block, demonstrating the power of this move again in the droid's inability to overpower her as Marrok prepares his next attack. However, this puts Ahsoka in a bit of a disadvantage as she's cornered, unable to retreat and separate her sabers. This severely diminishes her defense on both sides. With limited options, she shifts her strength to the much weaker droid, allowing it to ready another attack while using both sabers to disengage from Marrok. The continuity here gets a little messy. We see Marrok go for a quick horizontal strike to keep the pressure on Ahsoka while the droid prepares its next attack. She throws off Marrok's sloppy strike with her other saber, using the momentum to spin. The cut here loses some of the choreography as we see Marrok holding the saber with both hands before attempting another haphazard single arm strike meant to keep on tempo, while the droid comes with a powerful horizontal swing. Now, this next bit of choreography has gotten a bit of heat from fans. After fending off the messy strikes, Ahsoka uses a kick to throw Marrok off balance and move out from being cornered. Some fans are saying that an Inquisitor who survived the fall of the Empire shouldn't have been so uncoordinated to fall for this kick, and that his attempted recovery is too clumsy. When looking at the entire context of the fight and our breakdown of the prior couple of moves, I think it's pretty clear that Marrok's technique was compromised due to Ahsoka's skill. She's pretty fluidly moving between opponents, she's bringing a lot of power with those coordinated strikes, and really she's just acting unpredictably. Marrok probably knows that he doesn't have a chance against Ahsoka alone, so his real goal is to keep her busy while the droid readies more attacks. He's desperate, he's outmatched, and he's probably tired, so I think it makes sense that this clumsy defense and subsequent shuffle back is the best he could muster. Following the kick, Ahsoka ducks out of the way of another powerful swing from the droid, who recovers very quickly but not fast enough to react to a flurry of 3 quick diagonal slashes from Ahsoka, used to take away any defensive recovery the droid could attempt before impaling the HK unit through the center of its torso. At this point in the fight, Marrok is able to regain his composure as Ahsoka moves in, using the disabled droid to mask her movements and distract Marrok, while the two clash repeatedly, resulting in the droid's destruction. Marrok ignites the other side of his double-bladed saber, and the fight escalates when we cut back. This is where the choreography really shines in my opinion. Each attack is calculated and quick, with Ahsoka forced into defense while the Inquisitor unleashes an unrelenting stream of attacks before being locked in Ahsoka's cross block once again. This time she attempts to use the technique to disable one of his blades and tilt the fight back in her direction. Ahsoka is all too familiar with this style of lightsaber combat and the danger of those double blades spinning. So disabling one may be her best plan of attack outside of Marrok making a mistake when facing a double-sided weapon. When the attempt fails, she creates distance between herself and her opponent using a combination of disengaging their blades and the Force. This is the final move as the battle, as Marrok uses the opportunity of his incoming ship to engage the spinning capability of his lightsaber and to bail on the fight. This attack isn't an attempt to kill or hit Ahsoka. He knows for certain this will merely serve as a flashy distraction for him to get away and create tension for either their inevitable rematch or the next time he faces one of her friends. I can understand why some people might see this as a flat battle. The color grading is a little dull due to the industrial Corellian setting, especially when combined with Ahsoka's white lightsabers, but those will stand out more in scenes which take place in darker settings, which we will be getting in the coming weeks. Marrok's scarlet lightsabers also have a hard time standing out given the red accent in some of the ships seen in the background. I think they could have made the sabers stand out a little bit more in this scene. A few weeks ago, ILM's compositing supervisor Todd Vaziri was featured on an episode of Corridor Crew's VFX Artists React and discussed how when working on episode 3's Mustafar fight, one of the difficulties was making the lightsabers stand out against the light of the eruptions behind Anakin and Obi-Wan, an impossible feat they managed to make worse and resulted in the creation of some of the most iconic lightsaber battle visuals. So it's a little disappointing we don't see the same thing here, although I wonder whether this mundane location maybe serves to make what's happening feel all that more extraordinary. There aren't supposed to be dark Jedi hanging around, so the fact that there's this crazy fight on a dock, well, it's kind of a weird contrast, just like when Darth Maul attacked Qui-Gon Jinn on the sands of Tatooine. Another thing you might notice is the camera work not being as dynamic as some previous lightsaber action. Think Luke's assault on Moff Gideon's light cruiser. We instead get mostly wide-angle shots that let the choreography do all the work and allow the medium and close-up to serve the purpose of showing the emotion and the power of some of the lightsaber clashes. Personally, I thought it really worked. I thought the three-way lightsaber duel had a very unique dynamic, with there sort of being a hierarchy of power, being Ahsoka, Marrok, then the droid. So I liked it, but let me know your thoughts down below, and if you'd like to see us analyze the rest of the lightsaber battles in this series, let us know down below.